And welcome to a beginner tutorial on how to use AutoCAD 2021. So I've gone ahead and downloaded the free educational version of this, and as a student of mine, you'll be able to do the same. Basically, what we're going to get started with is a very simple 3D object, and we're going to be creating a key tag in the 3D printer. So to get started, I like to go up to the top left here under the AutoCAD icon and go to Drawing Utilities. Under Drawing Utilities, I select Units, and I just want to make sure that everything is as I intend it to be. So for this drawing, we're going to be using decimal inches. So we have decimal and inches selected here. Our degree of precision is going to be to 4 decimal places, and that's going to work for us. Next thing we're going to do is just go to our toolboard here. I have 3D tools open, but if you don't, you're going to have to go to Show Tabs and select 3D tools so that you can view the toolbar that I'm looking at. Once all that is said and done, we're going to start with our first shape. So we're going to start with a box at the control point 0 on our keyboard, comma 0, and comma 0. So that is the X, Y, and Z coordinates for the start of our box. Once I hit enter, I'm going to be able to play around with what this is. So the second size is going to be 2 in the X, comma 1 in the Y, and comma 0.125, which is the decimal equivalent of 1/8 of an inch. Once that's selected, I'm going to hit enter. Quickly, if you have something that's different than mine, this is shaded gray. In the top left of my screen here, we have the X-ray selected. So you'll be set to 2D wireframe when you first open the program. I suggest working in X-ray as it makes things a little bit easier to see. As you can see, when I come over to my view cube in the top right, select one corner, and it takes us to our 3D. So you can see the 3D and the lines are selected here. If I go into 2D wireframe, it would still be that, but it doesn't show me that there is an object there, just the lines on it. Alternatively, we could use realistic, which is solid, and we don't see the lines until we are highlighted on it. So again, my personal favorite is the X-ray, and we're going to move on to our second step. So the second step is going to be a second box. We're going to offset this one now with our coordinates being 0.125 for our X, comma 0.125 for our Y, and we're going to also set it up 0.0625, which if you double check on your calculator is 1/16 of an inch. Once those 3 coordinates are set and locked, I'll hit enter again. It's going to show me my box here. We want to make a nice 1/8 border around this whole piece, so our secondary coordinates are going to be 1.75, or a 1/4 inch less of our original, comma 0.75, a 1/4 inch less on the Y value, and we want it to be 0.0625 of an inch, or 1/16 of an inch tall. So once we have those 3 coordinates, we'll hit enter again. Now we have kind of a box within a box. We're going to make our first kind of shape here. So up here I have the subtract command. AutoCAD lets us pan over and look at kind of what we're expecting to do. So we're going to subtract our second shape from the first. So we want to first select the object that we want to keep, press enter, then select the object we want to subtract. So here we go, subtract. Object we want to keep is our main rectangle, our first rectangle. Select enter, we have a new selection. Making sure that we only select the inner rectangle, we're going to hit that and press enter again. Now you can see we have a recessed area. For the next thing, we're going to go back to our top view and we're going to hit our home tab. On our home toolbar, we have our text. So we're going to select single line text. We are going to start it somewhere off to the right, and we are going to make it a height of 0.375 or 3/8 of an inch. Depending on the size of your name, you may need to make this smaller, or you may be able to make it larger. My name is quite short. It's just Ryan, so 0.375 is going to fill my space nicely. Once I have the height, I select enter, And then it's going to, on the bottom, tell us to specify the rotation. We want to make that 0 degrees, polar or flat in line. Enter again, and it's going to give us our cursor or type prompt. So from here, I'm just going to put the cap locks on and do my name in all capital letters. I then click off the screen, and it's going to give me the opportunity to do more text if I so choose. I don't want to, so I'm going to hit the escape key a couple of times to get out of it. Now we can't manipulate this text as is, so what you need to do next is on our keyboard, type T, X, T, and we get this TXT, EXP. Okay, so this is text explode. By clicking anywhere to the right hand side and dragging left, we're able to select everything in that box. Alternatively, if we go to the right, only whole items within that box will be selected. So we're going to select all of our lettering and hit enter. It's going to work its magic, and now we have an exploded version of our text. The next thing we need to do, I'm going to go back into a 3D view on my view cube. We're going to make this embossed text within our key tag here. So I'm going to go back to my 3D Tools tab, and I'm going to use the extrude command. Again, the easiest way to select this is to click and drag left over. Now all of the individual lines are selected. I'm going to hit enter, and you can see I could snap to, but I'm going to use a measurement system to make sure that it all comes out the right size. So again, 0.125 or an eighth of an inch is all we're going to emboss it, and we're ready to move it on to the rest of our project. Now I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut for move. By just typing the letter M, I get move as the first on my list. I'm going to select that, select all, double check, make sure that I have selected everything I want to. Again, the enter key moves me to the next phase of the command. I'm going to grab this by the lower corner indicated by this endpoint green indicator. Select there, and I'm going to go back into my top view so that I can appropriately center this onto my key tag. I'm going to leave it just slightly towards the top because of how the next part is going to go, which is going to be a hole for our keychain to actually loop through. With the hole, I'm going to go to my shapes in the top left, and I'm going to choose a cylinder. In my 3D view, I should be able to just grab an extension line. I'm actually going to go to this view so I can carry it straight. You know what? I'm going to go top view just to throw you guys all off. And I'm going to come straight down to about this corner. Roughly approximated is fine. And I'm going to make this diameter. Let me move my little screen share loom thing out of here. A diameter on the bottom toolbar here of 0.25 of an inch. So 1/4 of an inch diameter all the way across. If you end up with a radius of 0.25, you're going to end up with a very large hole. So my 0.25 is going to look just like so, and I still have one more step in my cylinder. I can't see it in this 2D view, but if I go here, I want to just pull it down. Anywhere down below is fine because we're going to go back to our subtract command, and we are going to select our main body, enter, subtract this cylinder, and voila, we have a hole. So coming back to our main view here, we can have a look at our finished product. If you're happy with the square corners, that's fine. But I'm going to add some radiuses to the different corners or fillets to make things just look a little bit better. So I have this fillet edge command on my 3D tools. I'm going to select that, select fillet, and on all these outside corners, I'm going to select them. So it's a little difficult to see because of our axes. And I may need to switch my view so that I can get to the last one over here. Once I've selected all of the outside corners, I'm going to select radius in my bottom toolbar, and I'm going to make that radius 0.25 of an inch. So a little bit bigger than what we see here. Looking pretty good. I'm going to hit enter one more time. It's going to show me what the fillet edge is going to look like and prompt me to accept it. One more enter, and we have our final filleted edge. Now, I don't really like the way that it looks with the square corners inside of a rounded edge, so I'm also going to round off my inside corners. I'm going to take the fillet edge command again. I'm going to select these inner lines. I may need to rotate my view cube to see them all. 1, 2, 3, and 4. But I don't want this radius to be 1/4 of an inch because I don't like the way this looks over here. So I'm going to change that radius size to 0.125 or 1/8 of an inch. And looking at that, I kind of get a nice rounded border around my piece. Lastly, these square corners are going to be a little bit hard to attach our keys to. So what we're going to do is on our view cube, we're going to take a look at these upper edges. And we're also going to put a fillet edge on them so that we can have a little bit of an easier time attaching this to our keychain. So for this one, I'm going to put 0.0625 or 1/16 of an inch. And there we go. So that's going to fillet that over a little bit for me. And that's going to make it just that much easier for me to slide my keys onto here. So when we look at our finished product, from the side, we can see this filleted edge for our keys. If we want to go crazy, we can put more fillets around it, make it a little bit nicer. Perhaps the bottom of this hole here. It's really up to you. You guys can take this as far as you'd like to. But for now, see what happens if I do this. 0.0625 again. That looks pretty good. I'm going to round both of those off, and if we want to, we could round the edges off, but for the sake of this lesson, I think we're just going to go for a simple design like so, and we're going to get ready to export it to our 3D printer. So to export this, we first need to make it one solid object. So right now we have our individual lines from our lettering and then our unit. So we're going to select this whole situation with the union command, and we're going to make it all one cohesive solid. So now when I pan over, the whole thing illuminates because it is one piece. Our last step is to save it as a 3D printable file, which for our printer is an STL. So we're going to type STLO into our keyboard shortcut, and we get STL out as a command. Once we've selected that command, we select the object that we want to send out, press enter. It'll prompt us if we want to create a binary STL file, which we do. Enter again, and now we can save it to our computer. So I already have dog tag saved because I've done one other version of this video with a different screencast software, but I'm going to type dog tag and my initials so that it's easy for me to find. If we have a class USB, I just simply look for my initials and the project name. Once that's saved, we're ready to go.